Hi, guys. Oh my goodness, you're so ferocious. Should I just be terrified of you?
Alright, so Helmut Marko has gotten to talking. He did, of course, talk before the Australian Grand Prix, but I mean, it wasn't really worth noting until we actually saw the Australian Grand Prix play out. And the way it played out has made what he said relevant. Now, of course, it is always worthwhile to pay attention to what Marko says because Marko is pretty accurate with what he says. And he's pretty frank about it. He's sincere, you see. And I suppose his job description means he has to be sincere. Because man like Dietrich Mateschitz, he relies on him. He relies on him. Aside from Perez, Marko is the only other adult in the room. But he's like, he's quite literally the old man in the room. Just like Lauda was the old man in the room at Mercedes. Really frank about it. Tells you as it is. Doesn't beat around the bush. So Marko was talking pre-Australia about Sainz. And he said Sainz is 3 to 4 tenths slower than Leclerc. Now, I don't think Sainz is 3 to 4 tenths slower. I think he's just 2 tenths slower. But there is a gap between Leclerc, Verstappen, they go as a pair, and Sainz. That's just the way it is. And of course, there's another gap down to Perez. So Sainz finds himself in a bit of a no man's land. Now, of course, it's going to be Sainz fans might kick off, right? Sainz is going to have some good weekends. He might get some wins. It really depends how consistent Leclerc is. He might get some wins. I actually expect him to win in Spain. He might actually win, this weekend in Imola, all things considered. But I expect him to win in Spain. That's really where he has to put some manners on Leclerc in the Ferrari 1v1. Because if Marko's proven right in them being 3 to 4 tenths, he's not 3 to 4 tenths, of course. But if he's proven right on that, Bernardo can speak publicly and say that the drivers are free to race, and that he's not actually worried about them racing because they'll never actually be near each other on pace. You see, Bernardo can play these games with the media, just like Mercedes was saying the same thing about Bottas. This guy's just not in the same tier. And of course, now he's going to have some good races at Alfa Romeo, and people are going to say, oh, what if he was in the Mercedes right now? It would be the same shit. It would really be the same shit. He would be performing worse than Russell for sure. But it would be the same shit. He'd be getting an 8th year, 7th year, and then maybe he has a perfect weekend, he finds himself on the podium or something. And that's kind of his level. You put him in a midfield team and he'll do that. He'll do that quite comfortably for you. But you put him at the front and it's a different game, and Sainz is about to experience that. It's a different game at the front. At the front, you don't get to have an off weekend. Every weekend has to be a perfect weekend. Otherwise, you underperformed. It's a very different game. He doesn't have to be off by that much in each corner to be well off, you see? Especially with new regulations in play, because the cars are separated by that much more, so there's more of a gap to actually fall into. Right now is really where the scouting for this current formula is really beginning, because very quickly we're going to find out who's actually good in these cars and who's not. And Marko, he sees these details. He sees these little details in driving styles, driver imperfections and all of that. He sees it, and he'll air it. He'll air it publicly. He don't give a damn. Anyone can get the smoke. Even if you're in house, you can get the smoke. Although I haven't heard him smoke up Horner yet, but it might happen sometime. Maybe sooner than expected. Who knows? But yeah, Sainz, he has to put it together, and he was really just unfortunate, in Australia. It really was. He was good all weekend until Q3, the red flag. Ferrari kept him in for an extended amount of time. I don't know if that was his decision or the pit bull's decision. Either way, they fucked that up, considering what the tire regulations are. What are the current tire regulations aside from the wheel rims being larger? A real technical part of the new tire regulations is that they've actually reduced the maximum temperature of the tire warmers, tire blankets. So that's why you're seeing cars doing more than one warm-up lap in qualifying, and they left Sainz out for just they gave him enough time for one warm-up lap. So that was a technical error on Ferrari's part. The fix this weekend, it is what it is. I mean, if you were about this top of the grid thing, you would have been on the blower to the team, saying, "Hey, get me out! I need more laps." And then, of course, he had the steering wheel issue on the grid. He had to change steering wheel. Didn't have clutch bite point. Fluffed his start, and it was all kind of downhill from there. Binned the car, worst result. And now we have to see how he picks himself up in Imola. And Marko, he is tactical. He is tactical with it. Make no mistake, he is tactical with it. Alright, he put the pressure on Sainz in Melbourne, and things just didn't fall his way. So now the pressure ranks up for him in Imola. Because Marko, he's on the mental warfare. He's on mental warfare here. He started it early. You see? He started it early. And the first shot landed. It was a critical hit. That was a critical hit. Sainz was out. Now, a few technical errors over the weekend, and Andy lost his composure. And come the race, come Sunday, where the points are scored, he binned it. That's what he did. He binned it in the gravel trap, no less. And to be quite frank about it, Marko does actually need Sainz to do well. Aside from there being some mental warfare here between Red Bull and Ferrari, Marko does actually need Sainz to do well in order to keep things under wraps internally, because he's gonna slow down Leclerc's championship ascension. You see, Leclerc's already on the champion's path to me. I might explain the champion's path another day, but Leclerc's already on the champion's path to me. He is champion of 2022. If it doesn't happen, I'll be gobsmacked. I will be gobsmacked. I may have called it after Bahrain, but I will be gobsmacked if he is not champion of 2022. Of what can go wrong, there's nothing that can really go wrong. Not even an internal conflict, because Sainz is just not off the same level. And it's by a little bit. It's by minor margins. We're talking about the top 0.001% of drivers in the world here. It's by very small margins. But he has had to do some house cleaning. Oh yeah, Dr. Helmut Marko has had to do some house cleaning. Alright. He has identified Verstappen as a time bomb. He's ready to explode at Red Bull. That's quite a spicy headline. But basically what he's saying is that Red Bull did actually expect to have a problem on Verstappen's car in Australia. That's probably why they still had dry ice on the car on the formation lap. But Marko's general observation of the situation is that if things don't start going right for Verstappen's car, he might actually explode internally in camp. And maybe there's already been a mini explosion in-house, who knows? I would love to be a fly on the wall at the Milton Keynes factory. I would really love to be. I'd love to hear how they responded to Perez's attempted firefighting, and I'd love to see how they responded to Verstappen and Marko's inputs on the situation. I really would. I expect them to have their issues. every race. This will be every race of the season. I will always expect them to have their issues solved for the next race. Because this is Formula, this is the peak of motorsport. This is Red Bull, championship ready outfit. Let's be frank about it, let's be sincere about it. So if they don't actually get on top of these issues, then yeah, question marks are going to arise, frustrations are going to boil over internally. But I'll always expect them to have their issues solved for the next race. I expect 100% reliability come Imola, come Miami if it happens, come Barcelona. And if by Barcelona, well, Barcelona is where everything is going to come to a head. It's amazing for the season. Because if come Barcelona they still have a reliability issue come the race, this Red Bull outfit, that's the season. That's the story of the season. Because it doesn't mean they're going to solve it for the season. I mean, maybe solve it late season, post Spa or something. This championship is over by then. I mean, this first evolution of the cars that's coming at Barcelona is important for everyone. Mercedes, Red Bull, I mean Ferrari, it's less important, I suppose, because they could probably put on some minor upgrades and still match whatever comes. But for Red Bull and Mercedes, it's really important, especially Red Bull. They have to have the reliability solved come Barcelona. 100% reliability I expect by Barcelona. So this has to get solved quickly. And Newey, he's designed a good car. It rides really well. It passes the eye test. Passed the eye test from the first test. It was quite interesting. And then, of course, Perez had the first reliability cropper in testing. And it's all just the same story since then. And it's always a different problem. So we'll see what happens here. Marko, I think he's giving up the ghost. I think he's really giving up the ghost here. If we don't win again soon, he's not expecting it to be fixed. Then he is indeed a time bomb, said Marko. Okay. We'll have to see what happens. Peace.
Hell breezy. Let me show you how to keep the dice rolling when you're doing that thing over there. Hey. Let's go! Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop. Cause you know I gotta win every day. Go! See, you really wanna pop me. Go! Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. Go! You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come a nigga gotta set it, then I gotta go and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow and then I gotta shut it. Any little thing a nigga think that he be doing, cause it doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna dead it. Then I'm gonna murder everything and anything about it. Boom, about a bing. I gotta do a lot of things to make it clearer to a couple niggas that I always win and then I gotta get it again and again and again. And I be doing it to death and now I move a little foul. Nigga better call a rap and everybody know my style. Niggas know that I'm the best when it comes to doing this and I be banging on my chest and I bang in the east and I banging in the west and I come to give you more and I will never give you less. You will hear it in the street and you can read it in the press. Do you really wanna know what's next? Let's go. See the way we on it and we all up in the race and you know we gotta go and try to keep up with the pace and we struggling and hustling and set it and get it